He scrubbed floors in silence, invisible to the wealthy guests who stepped over him. They mocked his dark skin, sneered at his torn shoes, and laughed as if he wasn't human. But what they didn't know was that this quiet cleaner carried a secret powerful enough to shatter their pride and rewrite his destiny. One millionaire in particular would soon regret every cruel word, because the man they despised held the key to a puzzle no one could solve. What would happen when the nobody they humiliated became the one person they couldn't ignore? Malik had worked at the luxury hotel for nearly 5 years, yet most guests never even learned his name. To them, he was just the cleaner, the man who polished marble floors until they gleamed, who made sure their world of wealth stayed spotless. Every morning, he rose before dawn, catching 2 buses across town to reach the towering glass building that felt like another universe. He kept his head down, moved quietly, and worked harder than anyone else because survival left no room for mistakes, but Malik carried dreams no one could see. In his worn backpack, tucked between cleaning supplies, was a notebook filled with sketches and equations, plans for something bigger, something no one believed a man like him could achieve. Yet, in this palace of privilege, his ambitions were invisible. The guests only saw the color of his skin and the uniform he wore. That day, whispers of a high-profile guest spread through the staff. A wealthy investor, known for arrogance and ruthlessness, was checking in. Malik didn't care. He had learned to ignore their dismissive glances. But fate has a cruel way of making us confront those who judge us most harshly. Malik didn't know it yet. But this man's presence would change everything, and expose a truth so shocking it would leave the entire hotel silent. Malik's shift began like any other, his mop gliding over polished marble floors, his body aching from hours of bending and scrubbing. But as the luxury hotel buzzed with whispers about its VIP guest, Malik noticed the atmosphere shift. The man everyone was talking about arrived surrounded by assistants, dripping wealth in his tailored suit and diamond cufflinks. Conversations hushed as he strode through the lobby, but his eyes landed on Malik with a sneer. "Keep the floor dry," the man muttered as he stepped past him, his tone sharp enough to sting. Malik swallowed his pride. He'd heard worse. Yet moments later, Malik's bucket was accidentally kicked over by one of the assistants, water splashing across his shoes. The group laughed, not even pretending it was an accident. Malik knelt silently to clean up, heart pounding with humiliation, the sting of their laughter echoing through the grand hall. It wasn't the first time Malik had endured this kind of treatment. At this hotel, wealth acted like a shield, allowing guests to demean workers without consequence. But today felt different. The air was thick with cruelty as the millionaire continued to target him, barking orders as if Malik were less than human. "You missed a spot. Move faster." Every comment chipped away at him. By the time evening fell, Malik was assigned to clean the VIP suite. The lavish penthouse shimmered with gold accents and expensive art pieces, yet felt colder than a prison cell. As Malik scrubbed quietly, the man lounged in an armchair, swirling a glass of wine. He spoke loudly to his assistants, mocking Malik's appearance and broken shoes, laughing as if Malik weren't in the room. Malik's knuckles turned white as he gripped the mop handle tighter, forcing himself not to react. But then came the insult that burned deepest. The man scoffed and said, "People like him should be grateful they're even allowed in places like this." The words stabbed like knives. Malik's mind raced with memories of every time he'd been treated as less than, every time his dreams were dismissed because of his skin color, his job, his poverty. He clenched his jaw and kept cleaning, but inside a storm brewed. Later, while emptying trash cans near the man's table, Malik spotted something odd. A small, leather-bound notebook with a puzzle etched onto its cover, left carelessly among wine glasses. Malik couldn't help but notice the intricate design. It reminded him of the puzzles he sketched during breaks. Curiosity sparked, but before he could get a closer look, the man snatched it away, glaring. "Don't touch what you don't understand," he snapped. The comment lingered in Malik's mind. What could be so important in that notebook? Why guard it so fiercely? That night, Malik left the hotel exhausted but restless. The man's cruelty replayed in his mind. But so did the mysterious puzzle. Something told him this was more than arrogance. It was a key to something bigger. The next day, when Malik was unexpectedly reassigned to clean the VIP suite again, his pulse quickened. The notebook was sitting on the desk, unattended. He glanced around. No one was watching. His hand trembled as he reached for it. Malik's fingers brushed against the notebook's cover, its strange engravings catching the soft glow of the chandelier. His heart pounded as he flipped it open, revealing a series of cryptic numbers, geometric patterns, and handwritten notes in a language of wealth and strategy far removed from his world. Yet Malik understood puzzles. They'd always been his escape. His mind raced, connecting patterns faster than he could process. Just as the pieces began forming a clear picture, a sharp voice sliced through the silence. "What do you think you're doing?" The millionaire stood at the doorway, his face twisted with rage. His assistants flanked him, their mocking smirks gone, replaced with suspicion. Malik froze, notebook in hand, caught like a thief. The man stormed forward, ripping it from his hands. "You think you're clever? A cleaner snooping around my property?" His voice boomed across the suite, venom dripping from every word. "People like you will always be nothing." The words hit harder than any blow, but Malik stood his ground. His silence only fueled the man's fury. The millionaire shoved him, sending him stumbling into a glass table that shattered beneath him. Shards bit into Malik's arms, but he refused to cry out. The humiliation, the injustice, the years of swallowing insults burned hotter than the pain. "Get him out," the man barked. Two assistants dragged Malik toward the door like trash, but not before Malik shouted, voice steady despite his trembling body, "You should be more careful who you underestimate." For a brief moment, the millionaire's smugness faltered. He clutched the notebook tightly, his knuckles white. Malik had solved enough of the puzzle to know its value. He wasn't holding cleaning secrets. It was a blueprint for millions, maybe billions, a fortune hidden behind encrypted numbers and codes. As Malik was thrown out into the cold hallway, bleeding and humiliated, he knew one thing. The man's empire had a crack, and Malik had just found it. Malik left the hotel that night with cuts on his arms, bruises on his body, and a fire in his heart that no amount of cruelty could extinguish. He didn't return the next day. Instead, he poured every ounce of his energy into the puzzle he had memorized. Days turned into weeks of sleepless nights, his small apartment littered with papers, codes, and sketches. And then, like sunlight breaking through a storm, it all made sense. The millionaire's notebook wasn't just a game. It was a blueprint for hidden assets and offshore fortunes, a secret so valuable it could topple the man who had humiliated him. Malik contacted a journalist he trusted, someone who had once written about systemic racism and corporate corruption. Together, they exposed the scheme. Headlines exploded. The arrogant millionaire who had mocked Malik's torn shoes and skin color was suddenly facing lawsuits, investigations, and disgrace. His wealth couldn't shield him from the truth. For Malik, it wasn't just about revenge. It was proof that intelligence, resilience, and dignity could break chains of oppression. He left his cleaning job behind, his name finally known not as the cleaner, but as the man who solved the unsolvable. His story rippled beyond that hotel, inspiring others who had been silenced and mistreated to rise above. But Malik's victory is more than a personal triumph. It's a mirror reflecting the daily battles faced by millions who are judged before they're known. Racism often hides in plain sight, woven into workplaces, institutions, and casual cruelty. Malik's story asks us all, how many dreams are being crushed under the weight of prejudice? How many voices are silenced because of the color of their skin or the job they do? If his courage moved you, share his story. Speak up. Because every act of dignity and justice, no matter how small, can spark change. And sometimes, the ones the world dismisses as nobodies are the very ones rewriting history. What would you have done if you were in Malik's place? Would you have stayed silent or risked everything to fight back? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so more people hear it.